I decided to go to Charlotte about a month ago when it first was announced. That's when I first joined the alternative right, and I wanted to be semi-involved. I didn't expect things to get so what happened, I didn't expect anything like this. I honestly, when I first expected to go, I thought it to be much more lighthearted. I didn't even know about the torch rally yet. That was something I didn't know about until the day of. I expected to go on Saturday, listen to a few alternative right speakers, Richard Spencer, I actually don't know, I lost my name, I'm quite new to this, but I was just going to listen to them and then go home. That was all I wanted to do. I didn't expect things to happen the way they did, and with Friday night, it was just, I learned about Friday morning, and I thought, well, why not? If everyone's, the entire alternative right's doing it, then I should join. And it's, legal, and it's to honor, respect the statue. It's our beginning of the beginning of Unite the Right. So I said I'd do it.
But tell me, obviously, a big step for you to fly all the way across the country by yourself. So you must have been feeling particularly motivated for this event.
I was. It was mainly after events such as Berkeley and the first Charlottesville that I just wanted to be part of an event. And with the summertime, there's no school. I had a lot of free time, and so for me, distance wasn't really an issue. So in terms of motivation, yeah, I was motivated, but it's just because of my first time to actually be with this political organization.
That worked out. Now I'll just wait. Try and fit him in here. So tell me more about your beliefs and what you self-identify as.
I identify as an identitarian, or as a white nationalist, if you want to use that term. I prefer identitarian. I personally believe that all cultures and peoples, that includes their languages and their religions, their histories, are under threat with globalism. And with the free exchange of peoples, is that languages and people will just die out. And I believe that the white culture in the United States is at threat in its own way, and I want to help defend that. But also, as a white nationalist, I hope to work with the black nationalists, so they're not just, their culture's not wiped away, because they've been around this continent for 400 years, just like whites, and they develop their own culture that's separate and distinct from Africa. The African American is its own entity as well, and I hope to work with them as well. The Hoteps, I'll gladly work with them. And same with the Native Americans. I would hope to keep the reservations going. So as an identitarian, I want all nations to preserve their culture and their history and their identity.
Tell me, do you identify as a white supremacist? Do you believe that whites are superior to other races?
I do not at all. I am not a white supremacist in any sense of the word. I do not believe that whites are inherently superior in any way to any other race. I know a lot of stupid whites. I know a lot of very intelligent Indians and Asians. So when I see the IQ, that I don't believe it at all. There's too many factors in what makes an IQ. I know that there are extremes on both ends, where there are very intelligent whites and they think, oh, this is a superior white person. In reality, it's just an extreme. It's just, and then on the average of all races, we're the same. So, while we're not identical, there's beauty in that diversity, is that whites should be able to maintain Europe and our place within the world, in North America, South Africa, Australia, and live with the populations that we have an historical imperialistic history with, but we can move forward together on equal footing. But no, I'm not a white supremacist.
Tell me, explain the symbol that we saw on your polo, what that organization stands for.
That is the Dragon's Eye. It is an organization that I have officially joined that I've been connected with for this protest. It is Identity Europa. They are also not a white supremacist organization. They explicitly forbid that. So any National Socialism is strictly forbidden. Any fascism is strictly forbidden. It is for an umbrella of all those whites who believe that, similar as I do, that we want to maintain our identity without being extreme. We don't want gas the Jews or anything. That's monstrous. But we just want to, work with everyone else, work with people to acknowledge that we have an identity. We want to keep it.
From my research, the Identity Europa is labeled as a hate group and is labeled as a white supremacist group.
I believe that's been mislabeled. Everyone I've met in the organization have been good people, and they haven't really expressed any white supremacist ideals. I haven't met everyone in the organization, but I have met many of the leaders and a lot of the rank and file, and none of them have seemed to express any truly white supremacist ideals. I think it's been a mislabel and a misunderstanding.
You had to have anticipated that there would be some sort of skirmish at this rally.
I did anticipate it, but I was hoping the police presence would be able to keep the two groups separated. I was also observed that both sides were having kind of a volunteers to kind of make sure that the two sides would keep away from each other, shields, to make sure that, Antifa doesn't attack us and we don't attack them, so that people like me who just want to listen to the speakers, that's the majority who are in Lee Park, we can just stand there and listen so we can enjoy it in peace. But I was hoping there wasn't going to be a skirmish, but I assumed there would be a scuffle. But I didn't imagine people dying. That wasn't expected at all.
Ultimately, what comes out of this is that, you were present and part of the group that was at this rally that resulted in 3 people dying. How do you respond to that?
It was a huge tragedy. I didn't go to see anyone hurt, especially anyone killed. And with the whole event, I don't know exactly who the man is. I've heard that he's more on the alternative right side, and if that's true, then he's no ally of mine. I don't want anything to do with a murderer. And with his trial coming out, to do believe a second-degree murder. I know it's innocent until proven guilty, but if he's found guilty, I fully support the full punishment of the law under Virginia Commonwealth law. And I hope that beyond ideology, that we can condemn this attack. This rally wasn't meant to have a car running through people at all. So that I won't say he's a lone wolf, because I don't believe that he really was just some random guy, but I also believe he also represents the entire white identitarian ideology, because the vast majority of us don't want to hurt people either. There were also couples there and people like me who were relatively new to the organization, so I think this tragedy can allow us to move forward and discuss the whole thing and hopefully get to understand each other a little bit more.
From what I can tell, you've received death threats and other threats and been yelled at. Just take me through that, when you started to receive those threats and, for example, your travel today.
It started Saturday morning. We were getting breakfast right before we go to the actual rally, and I was told by someone who was in the car, he said, "You're on the front page of the Daily Mail." The Guardian. And I'm, what? And so I look, and there I am, on the front page of the Guardian. And it just slowly explodes from there. I see, everyone's following it on Twitter, and it's just being retweeted at more and more and more. And I'm hoping, oh my God, that's me. I know when I did that, and I got emotional. And from there, I'm just thinking, hopefully it doesn't spread as far as it does. But at one point, I got a Facebook notification, and then 2, then 3, then 4, and then people from high school doxed me. They revealed my identity, where I went to high school. They just spread that information everywhere. And then minutes later, my Facebook just blows up, 99 plus messages. And,
a pineapple bag and a black upright ruler. Please come to the American Airlines Docket Service office for the next 5 minutes to claim. Thank you.
And I just start receiving the basic die Nazi scum, and then I get I'm coming for you. I get these much longer messages that I know where your university are, I'm coming for you. And I've found 5 that I think that are in the West Coast I feel are very legitimate, but I'm going to comb through all the death threats, but they've been coming nonstop, and I've literally hundreds of them. But then I started receiving calls from my sister and then my mother, and then I started receiving messages from friends, then my grandmother, and then my grandfather, who has the same name as me, and they're all asking what's going on. We're receiving these messages. We're in Charlottesville, what's going on? And then as Saturday comes to a close, I'm still, I'm getting more and more of these, and I'm being told that my friends are being asked where I am. They're being threatened. I'm still getting hundreds of death threats, and it's nonstop ever since then. And honestly, I don't understand why all the death threats. I understand the photo is very, very bad looking, but I don't believe that you should threaten my family. To me, that's monstrous. You can call me a Nazi, you can hate my ideology, but I wouldn't threaten anyone. And yet they're threatening my sister and my mother, my dad, my grandparents. And to me, that I can't tolerate that. I can't say, oh, that's okay. They're going after people who have nothing to do with it. They're not part of the alternative right. I am. I can understand if you're going to threaten me, but they're threatening innocent people, and I have the proof. I'm not lying. And I see on the media there was a quotation of death threats from one of the articles, and that's just insulting, because these are legitimate threats to my life and to my family for my legally protected political beliefs. You don't have to agree with me, but I was at a rally legally. I committed no acts of violence, and when the police told us that this is no longer a legal rally and that you have to disband, we left. We went back to our cars, back to our hotels, and we just sat. We were engaged in no violence. And yet I'm still receiving these death threats. I'm a Nazi. And they're not even listening to me. They're not even letting me explain myself. They just automatically label me a Nazi just to intimidate me.
Like you said, you have been called Nazi and fascist and racist, and I don't know, how do you respond to those?
They're gross lies. Or maybe not lies, but just misrepresentations. I'm not a Nazi. I'm not a National Socialist. I'll say this on TV. I condemn Adolf Hitler. I condemn National Socialism as a political ideology. Adolf Hitler murdered millions of people, and some people would say, oh, the Holocaust isn't real. I say the Holocaust did happen. I'm not a National Socialist. I'm not a fascist. I do not believe in the ideology of Benito Mussolini. That was a barbaric and brutal ideology for a brutal dictator. I am a nationalist, and a nationalist for this time, and I want to not purge anyone. I don't want to hurt anyone. And I think that people, when they call me Nazi and fascist, they're thinking of 1930s and their own fear of nationalism, and is twisting how they see us. And I'm hoping that if they sit down and talk with us, they'll see I'm not a monster, that we're not all monsters. And yes, there are still Klansmen, there are true neo-Nazis. There was the National Socialist movement that was there. They were allowed to be there legally, and that was the whole Unite the Right. It was all of us, and a lot of us didn't want them to be there, but they had the right to be there like anyone else. I'm not sure if any one of them got violent. You'd have to ask someone else. I didn't see it, but I personally disavow National Socialism and fascism, and those are lies. I'm not a National Socialist.
What did you expect when you went there to happen, just from your thoughts?
I was hoping it would be peaceful. Everyone I was talking to were expecting things that would go relatively smoothly as long as we had the permit, that we had police protection, and that along the borders we would have, insults, maybe the odd water bottle thrown, that type of thing. We were hoping that'd be confined to the edges, that it wouldn't be a Berkeley, that there wouldn't be a whole lot of scuffles. That's why we really were pushing for the permit. And when it was revoked on Thursday, it was kind of a what do we do situation. And then when it was re-invoked, I believe Friday night, we all got excited because, yay, we're going to have police protection, we can have our speakers, and that violence being kept to a minimum. We didn't expect no one to get hurt, we didn't expect no violence, but after the permit was revoked, things went downhill really fast because some of us wanted to stay, some of us wanted to leave, and so it was it became much more chaotic. And that's when I believe when the car crash happened, a lot of the outburst and violence that occurred you see on the videos, I believe that was after the permit was called, because that's when a lot of our leaders